And there is a serious side to tonight's show as we celebrate between now and 9 p.m. the long and very successful life of boxing. Boxing legend Mick Carney. 50 years he was at the Fitzroy Lodge gym. Wow, that's going somewhere. Working with thousands and thousands of boxers. I want your Mick Carney memories and your thoughts on fights and fighters and losers and cranks and liars. He knew them all, Mick. Anyway, all in all, I think there's something for every single person in the business of boxing tonight. Welcome and enjoy. And call me on 0207 224 2000. Oh yes, last Saturday Mick Carney died. Mick was involved with the Fitzroy Lodge Amateur Boxing Club in South London in a railway arch near the War Museum for over 50 years. He worked with thousands of boxers during that period. There were world champions, British champions, European champions, amateur champions, Olympians and thousands who never won a title, boxed for England or made a million few quid as a pro. So have you, to be honest with you, we want people to get in touch tonight. We want people to call tonight. We want people to email tonight because we want to make this a celebration of Mick's involvement with the sport. I'll be taking calls from anybody with a memory. Call me 0207 224 2000. Before we move on, here's a clip of Mick talking about the importance of a much-needed donation for the lodge.
Steve, we don't get a penny off of anybody, They're very good at talking about schools and colleges and academies and all that where the money's going, but, we're a bread and butter club in Lambeth since 1908 it was founded, Without your Placid Gonzales and St James's plays, there wouldn't be any Fitzroy Lodge.
There wouldn't be any Fitzroy Lodge. Well, Mick Carney's gone. Earlier this year, Billy Webster died. Mick and Billy had been together for about 108 years combined. I tell you, it's been a bad win double, hasn't it? Well, we are gonna deal with calls, and I'm going to be trying to read some emails and texts out throughout the show. But I want to call my first guest up now, a guy called Nigel Travis, who boxed for Mick for many years at the lodge. Nigel, are you there? Nigel.
He's trying to get hold of Travis, and Travis ain't answering the phone.
Yeah, who's that? Is Travis not there?
No, it's Colin here.
How you doing, Colin? I thought we had Travis on the phone. They put Nigel up. How are you, Gooch? You okay?
Yeah, very well, Steve.
Let me just introduce you. This is Colin Neal, former European police amateur boxing champion who knew Mick very well. In fact, Colin, were you there on Saturday when he died?
I was holding his hand, Steve.
Holding his hand.
By people who loved him. At his bedside, and all the lodge people that you could care to mention were around his bedside. Mark Rygate, Obi,
Granty,
Popcorn, Granty, of course, Granty, never miss Granty.
Yeah.
And everyone was there, and he was at peace, Steve, at the end. That was the main thing. He didn't suffer. He was at peace.
He was a little bit angry in the few weeks before that, wasn't he? I think he was a little bit angry that he'd been struck down with this. Did he get over that, do you think, at the end, Gooch? What do you reckon? I
think he put everything behind him at the end. Because, and I say that, Steve, because Thursday night, and because you were there at the fish shop, he was having his fish. He went home, and when I spoke to him on Friday, he was like a man who'd been healed. He was so fresh and so full of enthusiasm because he'd got a night's sleep, Steve, that he hadn't had for many weeks. He got a week's sleep, a night's sleep, and he was absolutely.
That's because they gave him some serious painkillers on that Thursday. That's how he managed to get through that fish restaurant strip.
Yeah.
Right, Colin, listen, I'm going to move on. Thanks for calling up, mate. I wanted to. It's nice to have someone who was right there at the end. That's Colin Neal there. Now, Nigel Travis is on the line now. Nigel, how are you?
I'm all right, Steve. I'm all right, thank you.
You're not still mourning, are you?
Yeah. As much as I can do, yeah.
Because he wouldn't be very happy if you're mourning for more than about 2 days. You know that, don't you? I'm just going to tell you that.
No, of course. So it's a big wrench. He's played a big part of my life. Spent a lot of time with him, and it's something that's very painful. But it's not one to be emotional about. It's not to be sulking about. It's just to be celebrated and smile about. That's what he would want, and that's what we talked about before he went. We spoke at length on the Wednesday night. Wednesday night was a tough night.
Yeah.
Wednesday night was a real tough night.
Yeah, I heard you stayed up all night with him. He didn't sleep a wink.
Yeah, couldn't sleep a wink, and he was in pain. It was traumatic. It was an experience that I've ever had. Yeah. But it was good for me to be there, just so I could share a bit of the burden if I could, and just try and lift his spirits. And he was in pain, but it was a tough night. But he got through it. He got through it because he needed to. put some demons to bed at the lodge.
But you went down on the Thursday to the committee meeting, sorted out a few things. Then we all met him in the
we
fish
went
shop.
down there, and it was positive. It wasn't. You expected it to be hard, but it was hard for him physically. But as Colin just mentioned, he seemed uplifted as soon as it was done. He seemed at peace, and that's what he wants. That's what he would want.
Nigel, can you tell? Because a lot of people listen, lots of cab drivers, lots of other fight people. Most of them can't. They're sending me emails and texts. They can't come on. Could you tell us when the funeral will be?
The funeral will be on Thursday the 1st day of December. It will be at 11:45 at Beckenham Crematorium.
Yep.
Beside Beckenham Church, at St Edmund's Church. It's then a private family ceremony at Beckenham Crematorium, and then we're going to go and have a good drink. A good drink of tea.
Yeah, good drink of tea.
And a good drink of coffee.
He could drink some tea. Listen, Nigel, thanks very much for holding it together, and I'll see you next Thursday.
Oh, God bless you. Take care.
Nigel Travers, who boxing. I'm going to try and read out. So John Harris called up. He used to box for the Fitzroy Lodge. He won a junior ABA title there, and he's the actor. He was in This Is England recently on TV. In fact, he was nominated for a BAFTA, and he said, "I'd like to express my love for Mick on your show tonight, Bunce. I'd known him since the age of 11 and won a title under him. I grew up in and around Lambeth. The man was an absolute inspiration and a guiding light in my life, both in the gym and for many years after I left boxing and entered the world of acting. I saw him as a father figure because he set such a good example. He was the greatest." That's a tribute to Mick Carney from John Harris. We got some more people coming in. We've got Grant Davis coming in. I'm going to try and read a text I got from a young kid called Jovan Young. Okay, this is a kid that is trying to get to the Olympics. He's been boxing for Jamaica in the Pan Am Games, and he went out to the World Championships. So he's trying to get to the Olympics. He says, "Hello, Steve. It's Jovan here from the lodge. I would love to call up, but I find it hard to talk about Mick." Well, that's fine, Jovan. Leave me to do the dirty work then. So we're all at the club listening to your call. He was like a father to us all, an amazing man, and not only helped us develop as boxers, but also as men. He was probably the only man I really trusted, and we all miss him dearly. No cutting corners now, as I know he's always watching. The spirit at the club is as strong as ever, and we have all come together. Mark Reigate is doing a great job. Can definitely still feel Mick's spirit in the gym. Jovan, thanks very much for that. I got through it, didn't I? I understand why you couldn't read that out yourself, boy. Don't worry about that. I've been joined in the studio by former Fitzroy Lodge amateur boxer Grant Davis. He's with me now. Granty, welcome. Thanks. And you're like a regular on this show. You've been on more parts of this BBC London than most people. In your position as the king of the cabbies, as we call them. First of all, Granty, they're listening at the gym. John Harris called up. He couldn't come on. Travis, I didn't think was going to get it out of him. You look like you've been crying for a week. Jovan Young couldn't come on. Jazz Turner couldn't come on. I choked up at the start of it.
I know.
What a bunch of useless old tarts we are.
I know, it was amazing. And on Saturday when Mickey passed away, there was about 6 of us around his bedside.
I had Colin on, Gooch or something.
Colin, Gooch, Pop. And it was quite amazing. It was so... I don't know, I can't put words to describe it, but we was all crying at the end, and we had all the boys, and they was kissing Mick and rubbing his head and telling him how much they loved him, and, you know, it was very, very moving. I don't think I'll experience something like that for the rest of my life,
I'll let you catch your breath, Granty, because you've stitched me up completely, coming in here all teary. I knew this was going to happen tonight. No, the one thing, you know what's amazing is that last week I put out a call on the show. It was your suggestion because you took him to the fish shop in Central Street. You picked Mick Carney up from the gym, took him to the fish shop in Central Street, and you said, Bunce, Stevie, get over if you can. I said I would, and I said I'll jump in the cab. And you said, but put out a request. I did a put out a request. And about half a dozen call up, and I got one with Tony, who dropped me straight over there. And Tony, it turns out, he was telling someone else later on, and this guy had boxed with Mick in the 70s. So it's a tiny old world. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to play a couple of clips from me talking to me. This is one. I spoke to Mick after David Hay had just become the world heavyweight champion. That was back in 2009. I asked him about David's attitude when he was a boy.
And in his mind, he had it all planned out. At the age of 15 and 16, he seemed as though it was a bit of a dream, but not to him. Not to him.
Some people try and make out of David Hayes this very complex character, but that's not really the case, is it? He just likes to get in the ring, doesn't he?
All he wants to do is get in the ring and hurt people, which is not bad for a fight. And going in there with confidence, we know lots of fighters say they're going to do this and do that. With David A, you know, he wants to get in the ring, he wants to win, and in his mind he will win. So not bad attributes to take into a boxing ring.
Perfect attributes. Mike, tell me this, and I'm holding my hands up earlier. I didn't think he could control himself for 12 rounds last week. Were you a bit surprised that he kept his cool for 12 rounds?
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. I thought he'd lose it halfway through and...
have a fight.
Square on, as we'd seen him, square feet, and let it go, get caught, falls overhead, come back and turn it into a war. But no, fair Tuesday, he'd done the right thing.
Mike, you know, there's a couple of points in about round 8 when he did dig his feet in, as you say, square on. He wasn't in any stance, you could just see him ready to load up.
Yeah, you know, we've seen it all over the years since he was a baby, that all of a sudden, let's get square, look at his mouth, there it is, and there's a sheer... brutal David Hay in front of you. He's not some clean-cut finisher who's going to hunt them down and do a job on them. It's just sheer aggression.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I've been telling people this for years and years, because people have said, I think he's a bit Botley. And I said, listen, the last thing David A is Botley. I said, he's mad as a March hare, but Botley he ain't.
Yeah, oh no. He'd dig it up when it's called for.
And the big thing with him, of course, is that, and this is what I've been trying to tell people, especially since last week who'd never heard of him, I've been trying to say to people, no, listen, he really wants to have a fight. That was he had to fight last week against the way he normally boxes.
I always remember, I won't say the fella was a British champion anyway. His trainer, when Maloney's were training at the gym, they brought his British champion down, and David was going to spar, he was 17, he was going to spar with a light heavyweight. So while they was waiting for the heavyweight to get ready, this British champion, really nice guy, he said, I'll take him round for a round anyway. David floated round, bing, there he is, he's gone, the British champion. So there's this deep silence in the gym. I said, there goes your light heavyweight sparring. But he said, do you think... I said, he won't even come back today, about tomorrow. So he gets that. But this British champion sat there and had a chat with him, and I was so apologetic, and this young kid... He said, no, he said, you know, you get it on the chin, you get caught, and he was so nice with David, but David, in all his innocence, was looking there like, what have I done? You know, it wasn't something I set out to. And needless to say, the light heavyweight didn't come back the next day, so I was right on that score.
Yeah, we're not going to name that light heavyweight, needless to say. He has retold the story and managed to get a laugh. That was Mick talking to me shortly after David won the world heavyweight title. What a great night that was. I mean, if you ever listen to the 5 Live broadcast of that, you can just hear me laughing in the background, because I was laughing my head off, because having known him a while, it was just great fun to tell. I've got Grant Davis in the studio with me, and I've got loads of calls. Keep them coming.